Good morning. Let me get my equipment all set up. It's a little chippy out this morning. Had to go out and start my car a couple minutes early to warm it up. Took my daughter to school. She's not too fond of getting in a cold car. I'll catch some serious heat about that. We'll wait for a couple people to join here. I hope everybody's having a good week so far. It's already hump day. Just like that, it's Wednesday. We talked about the Monday blues, it feels like just yesterday, and all of a sudden, bam, we're halfway through the week. So I wanted to talk a little bit today. I have lots of people that ask me all the time how they might be able to get started in real estate, what's the best choice for them, and how do you make money? I think a lot of people believe that, either from what you see on TV or just from lack of inside knowledge, aren't quite sure how as a typical real estate investor you can make money. So I'm going to talk about just sort of where the market and the experience that I've had. There's certainly many more ways for people in real estate as a whole to make money. I mean, there's developers that buy and develop, big pieces of land. There's commercial, there's all that kind of stuff. I don't have any experience with that. So I'm going to talk about what I believe is the typical real estate investor and the different ways that they make money, which may change if you decided to get into real estate investing, which one would be the best fit for you. So the first one I'll talk about is what they call fix and flip. So this is where you buy a house. This is probably the most popular form of what we see in real estate investing, where we buy a house that needs some work. Maybe it's a bank-owned property. Maybe we got it at an auction. Maybe we bought it, from an estate or, a motivated seller that owned it and the house needed some work. So the normal real estate investor that does fix and flips will buy it, renovate it, and then essentially flip it. They'll put it back on the market at the increased sale price, and that's how they make a profit. So they may buy a house for $100,000. They'll put $40,000 into it and sell it for $180,000 to $200,000. That's a typical, very common real estate investment, or what's known as a fix and flip. The other option is what's called buy and hold. You've heard me talk a little bit about this before. There's a few ways that you can make money with this strategy. The most common one is what they call the BRRRR method. It's buy, renovate, rent, refinance. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance. So the way that works is, let's say you buy a property for $40,000. You put $30,000 into it. It rents for $1,000 a month, and it appraises for $110,000. And refinance it, the bank will give you 80% of the value. So if you're in it, let's say you bought it for 40, you put 30 in it, your total investment, let's say, is 75 with closing cost. If it appraises for $110,000, the bank will give you an $88,000 loan. You'll be able to pull $13,000 of equity out of that. And then normally on a property like that, if you balance it correctly with the rent, management fees, maintenance reserves, there's a couple different things that you need to plan for reserve-wise when you collect rent. You should make about $350 a month net cash flow. So now you're making $300 a month net cash flow. You pulled out your $13,000 in equity. If you do that, say once a month, you would make $13,000 a month. After 1 year of doing 12 of those, good morning, Rob, you would have collected 12 refinances times $13,000. That's what, $157,000. So you would have made $157,000 in, I believe, tax-free money. And then you will be making, on those 12 properties, you would be making about $3,600 a month in residual income. And then obviously the more of those rentals that you accumulate, your cash flow continues to go up. And each time, depending on your equity position, you're able to pull out equity. So that's the second way. Now, that's a little bit longer. But again, if you did one a month, if you think about that, as opposed to flipping, where a house flip may take 2 months to renovate, another 2 months to sell, it's not that much longer of a timeline to get started with buy and hold using the BRRRR method to make money. So that's number two. One, fix and flip. You buy it, you renovate it, you put it back on the market, you sell it for a profit. Number two, you buy it, you renovate it, you rent it, you refinance it, you pull out whatever equity you have in the deal. You can also leave it in if you're not in it for the equity and you want to build the maximum amount of cash flow. You wouldn't have to pull the equity out when you refinance. Matter of fact, some bank programs won't allow you to do what's called a cash out refinance for up to a year. So if you move down the path of buying, renovating, renting, and refinancing, make sure that you ask this question to your bank. What seasoning, the word is seasoning, just like Old Bay, what seasoning do you require in order for me to do a cash out refinance? So seasoning, when it comes to buy and hold real estate, refers to the length of time that you've owned the property. So some of them like to see that you've bought it, renovated it, held it, and that the property is seasoned for 6 months to 12 months. It's a way for the bank to verify that there wasn't a rapid increase in value and that the true value of the property has been verified just by the length of time, that you're not refinancing at this peak and that it's likely to crash shortly thereafter. They want to know that the property's been stabilized for a year and that property value is not inflated. The best way for them to get that verification is just basically by waiting. So make sure that you ask, if you're working with a lender, when it comes to refinancing, do they have seasoning requirements for cash out refinances? Because you may be able to buy it, renovate it, rent it in 90 days. You order an appraisal, you're ready to refinance, you're expecting to get a $13,000 check, and then you're capped at your cost. They may only do 80% of cost, regardless of what it appraises for. And then that means you're always going to have at least 20% in the deal. So now instead of making $13,000, you're putting in $20,000. Now the upside to that is if you have the cash to invest, again, it's going to continue to increase your equity position, which will drastically improve your cash flow. But you have to have the cash available at the onset of that deal to be able to make that work. So seasoning, cash out refinances are extremely, extremely important when it comes to building your portfolio and whether or not you're relying on those refinances as monthly income. The third thing, and this is one of the things that we do that's a little bit unique for our market, is we basically buy, renovate, rent, and then resell. So we have a slightly different BRRRR strategy. Once the property has been renovated, once it's been rented, we sell it to investors that want to own those assets, but quite frankly don't have the time, the energy, the expertise to be able to find the property in the beginning, renovate it, rent it. And then what we do is we offer professional management that comes along with that property when we sell it to that investor. So it's sort of like a fix and flip, except we're selling the property to an investor. We're not selling it to a homeowner. And then the key aspect there is we do offer professional property management. We offer a 1-year rent guarantee. So no matter what happens in that first year, if for some reason, which was a big deal this year with the way COVID hit, there was a higher rate of evictions and collections for us in our rental portfolio. It wasn't much, but it was something that we covered for all of our investors that had purchased the property from us within inside of 1 year. We covered the rent. So they're guaranteed to get 12 months of rent in the first year. And then we also have a one-year workmanship warranty. So any of the renovations, man, that sun is just killing me. We do a 1-year workmanship warranty with all of our renovations. So when we do these complete renovations, if there's something that has an issue or a challenge related to those renovations inside of that first year, we warrant that as well. And then we encourage a lot of our buyers to have a home warranty so that you don't have little maintenance things that may creep up that may chip away at their cash flow. But the great part is when we do our buy, renovate, rent, resell, or our turnkey sale that we sell to investors, we put a high focus and priority on mechanical items, things like furnaces. If they're not near new or have 5 to 10 years worth of life expectancy, we replace them. Same thing with roof, windows, all your major mechanical, plumbing, and electrical. Then we do, obviously, the typical cosmetic improvements. We upgrade kitchens, baths, flooring, paint, and fixtures. When we upgrade flooring, we now use and have for quite some time something that's called luxury vinyl planking, where we refinish hardwood floors. So it's a far more durable product. So when we sell it to our investors, for example, if someone rents it, they're there for 3 years, they move out. Normally carpet, no matter how clean that tenant was, would have to be replaced. You just get normal wear and tear on carpet, particularly rental grade carpet. It leaves imprints from furniture. Most often you need to replace that carpet each time someone moves out, which, in a 1,600 square foot home, a 1,500 square foot home, could cost you $2,000, $3,000, which can be a year's worth of rental profit. So we use luxury vinyl planking. That stuff is durable. There's no reason it shouldn't last 10 to 15 years. It's waterproof. It doesn't show wear and tear like a carpet would. So that's it. Turnkey is basically like fix and flip. It's also a lot like the Burr method, except rather than refinance at the conclusion of that, we're reselling. So we buy, renovate, rent, resell, and then we include property management along with that investment. So there's another way for someone that wants to buy and hold real estate, but doesn't want to be part of the initial purchase, does not want to be part of the renovation process. The refinance process can be challenging, as we talked about, between seasoning requirements and all that good stuff. When you buy one of our turnkey products, you get conventional financing, 20% down, 30-year mortgage, super aggressive rates, no PMI. It's just a very, very simple loan product that's easy to qualify for. No surprises like there are with some of the investor loans. Then the last way that people make money is what's called wholesale. So this is probably the easiest, I would say, when it comes to, or the lowest, what I call barrier of entry. So when a lot of people look to get into real estate investing, they end up in this wholesale space. And the reason is quite frankly, you don't need actual money. These folks advertise, we buy houses. They can even say we buy houses for cash. And they don't necessarily have the cash to buy your home or multiple homes. What they do is they negotiate a price with the seller at a low enough number that they know, with almost 100% certainty that they can sell it to an investor that would fix and flip it or buy and hold it. So what they do as a wholesaler is they, I would say, are more focused on marketing and sales. So they're marketing to find motivated sellers. They'll have signs all up over the place, looking for motivated sellers. Let's see, I'm just parking here, so I want to make sure I don't back into anybody. So wholesale is a way where you basically, you put properties under contract. I wouldn't say buy them because they typically never physically pay for the property. That's one of the very, very unique things about being a wholesaler is they, in most cases, never physically buy the property. They provide a service to sellers that they can, get their property under contract, and then this wholesaler really builds relationships with people that fix and flip, buy and hold, buy, rent, renovate, and resell. They actually find the end user to maximize the price that they're able to get for that particular property. So they do a ton of marketing to sellers to get leads so that they can get the seller to agree to sell them their property. Then as soon as they get that property under an agreement, they go out and find investors. Like we bought lots of properties from wholesalers that get these properties, negotiated at a decent price, and then they'll sell it to us and make a profit without them physically ever buying the property. So wholesale is a very popular way for people that are just getting started in real estate because it doesn't require any money. You may spend a little bit of money on advertising, but you don't have to have money to buy a house. So you can put a property under contract for $100,000 and you might not have $2,000 in your savings account. So it's kind of a crazy thing. There's a lot of laws and legislation that they're trying to pass that you physically would have to be able to show proof that you have money to be able to advertise that you buy houses for cash. Like our company has been in business for almost 15 years. We're, very, very stabilized when it comes to cash. We work with actual cash and lines of credit with banks. That in excess of $10 million. So any property that we put under contract, we physically have the intent and the ability to pay for it with our own money. So anyway, that's the difference. Wholesale is typically someone that is providing a service. They're gonna put a property under contract. They're gonna then immediately go out and find a buyer that has the cash, and they're gonna sell that contract to that end user for what's called a wholesale fee. So if they put it under contract for 100, if they sell it for 105 to this investor that actually has the cash to pay for it, that wholesaler would make $5,000. The seller would obviously get the original $100,000 that they wanted for the house, and that's how you wholesale. I may do a lot of videos about that because a ton of people ask me about that process. And quite frankly, is a great way to get started in real estate. And a lot of people that have good marketing skills, they have good negotiating skills, they have good networking skills, they have good prospecting skills, can make a very, very handsome living by wholesaling real estate. My only concern about wholesale from a long-term perspective is I believe within a reasonable amount of time, fairly quickly, they will crack down on that. Either the local real estate, whatever you want to call it. Like in our area, it's Realtor Association of York and Adams County. The local real estate laws, either statewide or on a national level, are going to start to crack down on that. Like again, if you put up a sign that says "We buy houses for cash," you need to have the cash to be able to pay for it. They believe that it's misleading, which I tend to agree with. But it's been that way for quite some time. But they're working hard to change that. Because as of right now, I would tell you probably 80% of the ads that you see that say "We buy houses," they don't have the cash. If you ask for an actual proof of funds, I believe that 80% of the people that you see that advertise "We buy houses" don't physically have the money to buy your house. It's 100% legal. There's nothing wrong with it. You should just know what you're getting yourself into. But if you're thinking about getting into real estate, that's a great way to get started. If you don't have a ton of cash to get started, you're going to need maybe a couple hundred, few $1,000s to get your marketing running. You do need to set up an LLC. You need to get your documents in place, have actual contracts and things to make sure that you're running a legitimate business and using appropriate documentation. But other than that, that's it. That's the typical ways that you can make money in real estate. That's the typical, structures of real estate investment companies. And I just thought I'd share that with you today. I get a lot of people that ask me questions about, like, what do you do? How do you make money? If I wanted to get started, what would that look like? So if you go back and watch this video or you check out in the title there, those are the normal ways that you can make money as a real estate investor. Again, there's 100 other different ways. For me, those are the most popular, sort of easiest ways to get started. So I thought I'd share that with you today. I hope everybody has a great morning. I'm going to the gym, so wish me luck. Have a great day.